Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So in this one we're going to be ranking every COD Zombies game from best to worst. Now, before we begin, I just want to say two things. One, I'm going to be quickly summarising the games because we don't have all day. So I will be going over a lot of points, but I'm going to keep it quick. And the second thing is, I'm sorry for not uploading in like 3 weeks, nearly. My Elgato crashed and I couldn't get it working, but now I have. So, you know, finally videos are here. So yeah. Let's begin. So the games that we have is World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and we're also going to include the non-Treyarch ones as well. So we have Exo Zombies, Infinite Warfare Zombies, and World War 2 Zombies too. So here we go. So coming in at number 8, the worst COD Zombies game, in my opinion at least, is going to be World War 2. Let's be real. Does anyone actually care about this game? I don't think so. Maybe some people do, but I don't personally. The maps overall are pretty bad, let's be real. There's like 2 good maps, and that's the Final Reich and whatever DLC 2 is. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But most of the maps on that game are pretty terrible. I don't think really anybody's going to say that the Tortured Path is the best map ever made. It isn't even a map, it's more of a game mode. I haven't played the Frozen Dawn or whatever it's called, DLC 4. The Darkest Shore, in my opinion, was my favourite map. I don't know why. I guess it was probably the most unique map, unless you count the Tortured Path, but that's more of a game mode. I don't think the maps were very good. If we compare them to like Origins, you know, Mob of the Dead, Der Eisendrache, you know, it doesn't even compare. But they're not that bad, but I don't know, I didn't like them personally. The story of this game sucks. Like, when the Final Reich was coming out, you know, the story was actually interesting and exciting because they were revealing it in a cool way, but just didn't really lead anywhere. And, you know, the main villain of the game died in, like, the second map or the third map or whatever. I just don't think there was a story, like, really, at all, from what I know. Well, I didn't really play the maps at all, so maybe that's me. But I just don't think the story compares to the Ether story, even the Chaos story. Like, I bet Exo Zombies has got a better story than this shit. Like, I just didn't think the game was very good, but that's my opinion, I don't know. The crew wasn't very interesting. They were okay, but, you know, they weren't the worst crew in the world, but they weren't the best either. And the last thing is community interest. So what I mean by that is basically how many people were watching videos of YouTubers at the time, how many YouTubers were making videos at the time, and let's be real, there was no community interest at all, let's be real. That game, that shall not be named, was getting big at the time World War II Zombies was a thing, and yeah, it just took all the viewers away. World War II Zombies just sucked, like, in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with me. I don't think it's terrible, there are some good aspects of it, but it's just not comparable to any other game, in my opinion. So coming in at number 7 is Exo Zombies. That's right, Exo Zombies was okay because 2 of the maps were actually good, and that is Outbreak. Outbreak was actually a pretty good map, to be honest, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it, and to be honest, for the first Exo Zombies map, and well, the first non-Treyarch Zombies map ever made, it's a pretty decent map, to be fair. And then Infection, which is the next map, is terrible. One of the worst maps ever created, by far. It sucks. The Survivor round's terrible. You know, it's just a god-awful map. And then the next one, the boat map, I can't tell you its name for the life of me. I always think Supremacy, but I think that's the name of the map pack. I don't know. But that map is terrible. It sucks. It's not as bad as Infection or Burger Town, but it is freaking bad, okay? It is terrible. And then the next map, which I believe is called Descent, is okay. It's not great, but it's better than the last 2 maps, to be real. So Outbreak and Descent were actually pretty good maps, and Infection and the one boat map I can't remember the name of, they're bad. And that's a good thing, because you get good maps and bad maps as well. It's not like World War II Zombies, where, let's be real, all the maps are pretty bad. You know, there are actually some pretty good maps on this, and I don't think, you know, Outbreak really gets the credit it deserves. Like, it's a pretty good map. But something that is bad about this game is the story. Oh wow, it was terrible. The thing about the story, though, is it was kind of interesting the entire way through. With Outbreak, you know, we had the chemical attack things in the campaign, whatever they were called, I don't remember. And, you know, the story was kind of interesting, and then we left to Infection, and the story was actually pretty decent with, you know, the intro was pretty exciting, and the outro where Oz died was a pretty good twist, in my opinion. And then, you know, Oz becomes the bad guy, and then we get a new person in our crew for the first time ever. I don't think that's ever been done again. Well, it has now with Primus Richtofen dying, but he's the same fucking character, okay, let's be real. But after that, you know, the boat map was kind of interesting, and the last map was pretty good with the story, I guess. The ending wasn't too great, let's be real, left on a cliffhanger, which probably won't get resolved anytime soon. But, I don't know, I think it was more interesting than World War II, and it actually had somewhat of a story the entire way through that was somewhat interesting. And I don't think that gets enough credit, to be honest. And the community interest was actually really good for this game. It probably had the best out of all of the non-Treyarch ones. Probably because Black Ops 3 was coming out, let's be real. But, you know, people, you go back and watch these Exo Zombies videos. People are watching the videos, uploading videos, and, you know, enjoying the videos all around. And it was nice to see. For the first non-Treyarch game, I think it did pretty well. But it wasn't as good as one non-Treyarch game that we're going to get into next. I just ruined the list, sorry. So coming in at number 6, I just ruined the list by accident, is Infinite Warfare Zombies. That's right. So Infinite Warfare Zombies had one good map. And can you guess which one that is? That's right, Spaceland. That was actually a pretty good map, to be honest. I really enjoyed it. It did have its bad sides. You know, the wonder weapons were a bit too difficult to get, in my opinion. But I don't know. I think it was a good map, and it was a really decent map for, you know, a game that was so hated, being Infinite Warfare. Everyone hated it and didn't want it to happen. It actually had a pretty decent on-disc zombies map. And, you know, it kind of goes downhill from there. Raven the Redwoods is okay. It's probably my favourite map out of all of them. Shaolin Shovel is... Actually, no. You remember when I said Burger Town was the worst zombies map? Yeah, scrap that. This is the worst zombies map. Fuck that map. Honestly, it's terrible. Attack of the Radioactive Thing was okay. It definitely was better than Shaolin, but it wasn't too great. And Beast from Beyond, the gameplay was flipping terrible. I'm going to stop swearing in this video. Gameplay was flipping terrible. But the Easter egg with the super Easter egg was actually really cool. And that was awesome to have this super Easter egg for the whole thing. You know, it was nice to have a good ending. And it kind of redeemed itself a bit with that super Easter egg. But the story overall is pretty terrible. Let's be real, the story sucks. It's exciting with the Beast from Beyond. And it was actually a pretty good one. But I don't feel like the story was really anything special. People don't remember this game for its amazing storytelling. People just remember it for being a fun, wacky game mode. And that's what it was. This game is probably the funnest non-Treyarch one, at least. Probably out of every single game on this list, to be honest. Like, it's just a fun, relaxing game mode. You don't have to take it too seriously. And I think that's why Infinite Warfare is probably the best non-Treyarch zombies game in everybody's opinion. I think people would agree with me on this. It's just a fun game. Like, I don't get it. People take this game mode so seriously. It's just fun. Like, it's nice. The characters, on the other hand, are pretty terrible. Let's be real. They aren't too special. They suck. They're bad, okay? They're pretty terrible. But yeah, I think Infinite Warfare was probably the most innovative game as well. I think that's why people really liked it. It was really different from core zombies with, you know, Treyarch stuff. It was very different. You know, you can tell Exo Zombies and World War II Zombies were kind of going off it a little bit. But I feel like Infinite Warfare just went off in its own direction. And I think that was why it was the best non-Treyarch game mode. But anyway, let's move on. Coming in at number 5 is a bit controversial, I'm sorry, but I think this is the best way we're going to do this. Coming in at number 5 is World at War. Now, I know what you're saying. You put this masterpiece over that piece of shit? Yes, I did, okay? For a very good reason. I'll get into it in a minute. Now, World at War has great maps. All of them are fantastic, okay? You have Nakta and Toten, Veraxt, Shinonuma, and Doris. I don't have anything wrong with the maps, but I do have some stuff wrong with the game we'll get into a minute. But, you know, the maps are pretty classic. You know, it has my favourite map, Veraxt, of all time on it. Like, the maps are brilliant. I can't say anything bad about them too much. The characters, you know, we had the Marines for the first 2 maps, which, let's be real, Nakta and Toten, they were pretty bad. You know, we didn't really get too much story, but this was the first map. You know, were you expecting this amazing story with the first map that wasn't even supposed to be a thing? I don't think so. But Veraxt introduced the Marines' voice, and I think that was pretty nice to actually get somewhat of a story. It wasn't too crazy, but there were some hints around. Then in the next map, Shinonuma, we got Ultimus. Like, how amazing is that? Finally, actual characters which kind of affected the story. I know the Marines are somewhat in the story, but let's be real, they were amazing, Ultimus were, and it was very nice to have them in this game. And then, you know, the story really took off with Doris. You know, we got Maxis, Samantha, we also got Sophia in the game as well, and it was really exciting to see the game start up. It was such a small game at the time, you know, this was the first COD Zombies game, and it was brilliant. Like, it's just a nice game, personally. But there are some things bad about World at War, though, and that is that the maps are broken. Let's be real. Doris is probably one of the most broken maps ever made. It's glitchy. You can lose your Juggernaut by shooting yourself with the Wunderwaffe. The zombies on Nakta and Toten literally don't move when they hit you. Like, When normally in zombies, when a zombie goes to hit you, it'll keep running forwards, but on Nectar and Totem, if you run past it, it'll just stand still. And I know it's the first map, okay, but that's pretty broken in my opinion. Varakt, you had the runners, which were pretty terrible. Shino Numa, you had the Hellhounds, which were a little bit glitchy if you compare them to the new ones, but you know, it's the first zombies game, okay. Obviously it's going to come with glitches and stuff, but I don't know, I feel World at War was fun, but I feel like if you're a newer player like me, you're not really going to enjoy it. When I say, I just want to clarify, when I say newer player, I don't mean that I joined with BO2 or BO3. I've been playing, you know, since World at War. But what I mean by that is if you're someone that likes the Origins style of maps, where you have all of these crazy Easter eggs to do and you're always on the move, you've always got stuff to build and stuff, you're not really going to enjoy World at War too much, but I think we can all enjoy it somewhere how. But I think it's a really fun game. So coming in at number 4 is Black Ops 4. Now I know what you're saying, why did you put this game over World at War? And I'll get into that in a bit, but before we begin, I just want to say, the maps that we have right now, we have 6 maps of release on when I'm making this video, and 3 of them are good and 3 of them are bad. I'll let you just quickly think of the maps in your head. Which ones do you think are great and which ones do you think are bad, right? Just give you 2 seconds. Okay, so the maps that are pretty good is 9, Blood of the Dead, and Classified. 3 brilliant maps. They do have their problems, you know, the Easter eggs are pretty meh on Blood of the Dead, and the ending is pretty bad on 9, but to be honest, they're really good maps. But then you have some really bad maps, you know, Voyage of Despair. Now, Voyage of Despair isn't terrible. When I say bad maps, I don't mean that these are transit, you know, I'm just saying that they could be better, but they're okay. That's what I'm saying. Voyage of Despair is alright, but let's be real, does anyone think this is the best map in Black Ops 4? I really don't think so. But I don't really have a problem with Voyage, but I think we can agree that it isn't the greatest. The Stokers are annoying, the Easter egg is pretty bad, well, it's pretty difficult for me and I suck at Easter eggs. I don't know, I just don't think Voyage of Despair is a fan favourite map. Then you have Dead of the Night. You know, in my opinion, this is my opinion, okay, I'm sorry for all of you Dead of the Night fans, but I think it is the worst map ever fucking created. I've gone on about this before, this map just pisses me off when I think about it. I hate the characters, I hate the story, the gameplay sucks for me, I don't like it, but I don't know, you Dead of the Night fans out there, I'm sorry, but I don't like it, okay. And Ancient Evil, I've only played twice. People say it's like the Rising Track, I really don't think so. I don't think it's that great personally. But I don't know, I think 3 maps are really good and 3 maps are pretty bad, but could be better. I'm not saying that these maps are terrible, apart from Dead of the Night, but they could be better, in my opinion, at least. Now, why did I put this game over World at War? Well, it's the game modes. That's right, this game has 2 game modes at the time of this video coming out. Well, 3, I guess. You have, obviously, core zombies, you know, just classic zombies. You have Zombie Rush, probably one of the best game modes ever created. And you also have Gauntlets. Now, Zombie Rush is a really fun game mode. It's a really fun arcadey take on zombies, and it's really not bad. The only problem I have with it is that the boss zombies come in a bit too much, and there's not really too many max ammos, but you can get gobblegums for that, so I don't really see it as a problem too much. This game mode is really fun, and it's definitely the best one out there so far. And then you have Gauntlet, and Gauntlet I haven't played too much of, but it is fun. It's a challenge type mode, it's a bit more serious, and you know, Zombie Rush is just a fun game mode, you can just chill out on it. But I feel like Gauntlet is very difficult, but it's fun. It's challenging, rewarding, and fun, and I really enjoy it. It's a fun game mode. I put Black Ops 4 over World at War just for this reason, that there's more, you know, things to do. You can play classic zombies, you can just have a fun arcade mode, or you can play a challenging Gauntlet mode. You know, you didn't really get that in World at War. Obviously, you know, it was the first game, but you know, it's nice to really get more content and more ways to play zombies than just, you know, classic. And you also have difficulties. If you're a zombies noob and you don't know how to play, you can play on the easiest setting ever, and then you have normal, which is just normal zombies, and then you have a little bit harder, and then you have extremely hard, where you'll get hit once then you die. You also have custom mutations, where you can play the way you want to play. Like, it's kind of like custom zombies, like, almost. You want just shotguns? Boom, you've got shotguns. It makes a challenge really easy. Like, you know, if you just want an assault rifle for some reason, you know, you can just get it, or you can get only one weapons, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you can exactly. But it's fun, and it has more customization as well. It's just pretty good. Now, the characters are amazing. We have Primus, and we have Ultimus. We also have the new Chaos Crew as well. The Chaos Crew aren't perfect, but at least they're interesting characters, and are actually characters looking at you, Exo Zombies, World War II, Infinite Warfare. But yeah, the characters aren't too bad. The Dead of the Night crew I don't really like. They're pretty terrible. They don't really have too much of a story. They die at the end of the map. I don't like them too much, but Primus, Ultimus, and the Chaos Crew, they're really exciting, really good characters, and they're definitely better than the other games. And then the story is, like, the Chaos story is okay, but it could be better. It really only is interesting with Ancient Evil. The other 3 maps, you know, 9, Voyage, and Dead of the Night are pretty, 9 was okay. Well, Voyage was kind of okay as well, but it just wasn't too great, let's be real. Their story wasn't amazing. The Aether story, on the other hand, is really good, like really good. Blood of the Dead probably has the best story out of any map, and you know, Classified also tells about the old story, connects dots that we didn't really know about before, you know, kind of like, you know, how Richtofen sent half of his 935 workers to the Pentagon and then half of them to I believe the Cosmodrome from Ascension. You know, it's cool. It's nice to finally get these details that we never got before. But yeah, I thought this game was definitely better than World at War. Like, don't get me wrong, World at War is a classic zombies game, one of the best of all times. But I just think Black Ops 4 has more content and it's more enjoyable with the story and just everything. Well, Aether story, that is. I don't know, I just feel like it was more fun and more content and just enjoyable more. Coming in at number 3 is Black Ops 1. Let's be real, it's a great game. The maps are amazing. You have Kino of the Toten, 5, Ascension, Call of the Dead, Shangri-La, and Moon. I literally can't say anything bad about these maps. The only thing I could say bad is George Romero and the Pentagon Thief. I didn't like them, but you know, that's just one part of these maps. These maps are amazing. I don't really have any problems with them too much. The only map I don't really like in this game was 5, and that's really it. That's one map out of 6. You know, it's not like, you know, Infinite Warfare where pretty much all of the maps are terrible. The maps are just really good in my opinion, and the story was really good in this game. It wasn't too crazy and over the top like Black Ops 3. It was really simple and easy to understand. It was very secretive, you know, it didn't just tell you, oh, we're here because of this and stuff. You had to actually go looking for it in radios and stuff, and it was, well, we still have that today, let's be real, but it was, you know, it was fun to piece together the story. We didn't have this timeline that told us everything about it. It was nice to piece together the story for ourselves, and it's just a really good game. Now, the Easter eggs were fun. We didn't really have too many side Easter eggs like we do today in BO4 and BO3, but the main Easter eggs, we started with Ascension, were amazing. Let's be real, this is really the start of the new age, you know. Back in the day, everybody was just about high rounds and stuff, but now we're all about who can solve the Easter egg the fastest, you know, what is it about, what does it say, you know, this is the main part of the map, and it's really exciting. Easter eggs were definitely the best thing to happen to zombies by far, especially in Black Ops 1 at least. But there are some bad things about Black Ops 1, we can't just talk about the great, and that is the weapons. The weapons were pretty terrible, in my opinion. I'd say that they're the worst weapons. Not in all of zombies, they're definitely better than like the World War II, you know, exo-zombies weapons. But if we're talking Treyarch, they were pretty terrible, let's be real. There was a handful of good weapons, but I think there were really, really bad weapons in this game, like the China Lake, the unpack-a-punched crossbow. Yes, I know it's good when it's pack-a-punch, but when it's unpack-a-punch, it's pretty terrible, and especially when you don't have PhD. And I forgot about PhD. You have PhD in this game. It's brilliant. You know, you have Deadshot Daiquiri was introduced for the first time. You got Mule Kick, which a bit controversial, but you know, they added in so much stuff to this game and so much variety, and it's really cool. But yeah, the weapons were pretty terrible. The Wonder weapons were amazing in this game. You had the Thunder Gun, you had the 2 from Call of the Dead, which weren't too great, you know, the VO11 and the Scavenger. Shangri-La, you had the Baby Maker, which is one of the best guns of all time, and then you had the Zap guns or the Wave gun from Moon, which were amazing. I just feel like this game did everything right. There were some things bad, you know, like the bad weapons were pretty bad, because, you know, they're the main weapons of the game, but I feel like this game was really fun, and it did a lot of things right, and it's definitely a fan favourite. So coming in at number 2 is a bit controversial. It's Black Ops 2. Now, Black Ops 2 is great, right? It's one of the best zombies games ever made. It's definitely, in the community's opinion, number 1, but got a big reason why I put it here, and that is because of the maps. Now, compare it to the other game, which we'll get into in a minute, which has pretty good maps all around. This game only had 3 or 4 good maps, which is Mob of the Dead, Buried, and Origins. brilliant maps, you know. There are some bad things about them, but they're very small and minute, you know, compare it to all of the good things they have. You know, Mob of the Dead is one of the best maps ever made in the community's opinions, as well as Origins. Buried is not one of the best maps, but it is amazing. Like, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. But then you have Transit, Nuketown, and Die Rise. Now, there are some people out there that do like Transit. Transit is becoming a liked map now. But we can't deny that it is not very good. It's pretty bad. Like, it's okay. But yeah, let's be real. This map was torn to shreds by the community. Like, it wasn't really a good map. It was okay on co-op, but on solo, for me specifically, I didn't like it that much. Nuketown was okay, but it wasn't too great. It was nice, but, you know, it's Nuketown. We could have had something different, but, you know, I'll allow it, it's alright. And Die Rise isn't great, let's be real. I kind of like Die Rise, but I think the community don't really like it that much. I feel like the first 3 maps are really weak maps in my opinion. I don't know how, just Black Ops 2 did a 180 and then brought out some of the best maps ever made. It's funny that BO2 has some of the worst, but yet best maps ever made. And, you know, the only reason I put BO2 a little bit lower is because of the first 3 maps are pretty weak. And, you know, the next game, coming in at number 1, all of the maps are really good. But yeah, I like the maps, but some of them are pretty bad. Now, I would list out some weapons for you, but I literally can't remember any of them apart from the bad ones. So, you know what, let's list out some of the bad weapons. The bad weapons you have, you know, are the SMR, the War Machine. You know, you have that one shotgun that's really terrible that I can't remember the name of. I don't remember any of the names of the weapons in this game. But yeah, the SMR and the War Machine are terrible. Some of the worst weapons we've ever had. We also have some good weapons, like, for example, the hammer. It's the only one that sticks out for me. I should have probably researched the weapons before I did this. But, you know, the weapons, you have a 50-50 chance. And that's a good thing, because it really brings a mystery to the mystery box. You know, you play BO1, you're expecting to probably get a shit weapon. But, you know, you play BO3, you're expecting to get a really good one. With BO2, you don't know if you're going to get the best weapon of all time or the worst weapon of all time. It brought a nice mix into the game with the mystery box. It was actually a mystery box, because you didn't know if you were going to get something really overpowered or something really underpowered that was terrible. Now, the Wonder Weapons are again a 50-50, you know, you have the staffs, then you have the jet gun, then you have the blundergat, then you have the slicker which isn't that great, but it's alright. Then you have the paralyzer, and then you have, I don't know, the M27, is that a wonder weapon at this point? It's only on Nuketown. But you also have the Ray Gun Mark II as well, which is a really good wonder weapon. The wonder weapons were 50-50, the staffs, the blundergat, the paralyzer, the Ray Gun Mark II were brilliant, and then the jet gun was awful, let's be real. Now, BO2 also introduced Grief and Turned, which are 2 great game modes. Now, unfortunately, they don't really get played too much. You're not going to really find a Grief lobby, but, you know, you still can find one. But with Turned, you're never going to play Turned in 2019, let's be real. They're fun game modes. Grief is fun. I really do enjoy it. It's definitely better than Gauntlet. I would say if I ranked all of the game modes, it would be Rush, then Grief, then Gauntlet, and then Turned, the bottom. But yeah, the game modes are pretty good, but you don't really find lobbies anymore, and that kind of sucks, let's be real. You know, they're not game modes that you can play solo, and I think that's why the BO4 ones are better, because, you know, you can actually play them solo, you don't need to find a lobby for them. But they're really good. I really enjoyed them, and it was a nice addition into zombies. But one thing I didn't like in this game was the bad story. That's right. Now, I know what you're saying. Mob of the Dead and Origins have great story, and yes, they do. They're not the maps we're talking about. We're talking about the Transit Trilogy, as I like to call them. The Transit Trilogy story is pretty terrible, let's be real. You know, we're just going around fixing pylons. Like, it's nothing interesting. You know, the relationship between Richtofen and Maxis was interesting and cool, but apart from that, you know, you don't really play Die Rise, Buried, or Transit for that great story, do you? I just don't think it had a great story. But Mob of the Dead and Origins really did. Mob of the Dead story is probably the best story in the game, and Origins is just behind. It was fun, but it's definitely the beginning of the story. It wasn't too exciting, but it was really cool. And let's be real, we also have the Origins Easter egg ending, which everybody hated when the game came out, but everybody likes now, so that's nice. But yeah, BO2 is great, but it's not the best zombies game, in my opinion at least. I know I'm going to get hate for that. Coming in at number 1 is Black Ops 3. That's right, the best zombies game in my opinion. Now, the reason BO3 is the best is because all of the maps are great all around. Now, let's look at the maps we have. We have Shadows of Evil. Brilliant, one of the best maps ever created. The Giant. It was a nice throwback to having old zombies. The Rising Track is considered to be one of the best maps ever created. Zetsubou no Shima. It isn't great, but it's not too bad. We'll get into this later. We'll get into all of the maps in a minute. Gorod Krovi. Fantastic. I can't say anything bad about it, apart from some people don't like the Easter egg. And Revelations has its problems, and we'll get into that in a minute. Now, the maps are brilliant, right? They're all, in my opinion, they're all great. I love them all. Shadows of Evil is a amazing map. It was a really good and strong first map of Black Ops 3. Now, if you're a new player to BO3, you're not going to enjoy it too much, but that's why you have the Giant, and we'll get to the Giant in a minute. But Shadows of Evil is an iconic map because the characters are great, the story is interesting and actually matters, the wonder weapon is amazing, the map layout isn't too bad, you can easily traverse the map with a train, or you can use the portals and stuff, you have the beast mode, which is really fun. The map was good, the Easter egg was fun, was easy and wasn't too bad. The Giant is a really good map because it really gives that OG feel of zombies. BO3 kind of has everything. If you want to kind of play the OG days of zombies, kind of like World at War, you've got the Giant. If you want to play like BO1 style, you've got Zombies Chronicles. If you want to play the newer games, obviously you have the newer maps. It's really got everything for everyone. But yeah, the Giant is a nice throwback to the OG days of zombies. The Rising Track is one of the best maps ever made. You've got the bows, which are amazing. The Easter egg is amazing. The map layout is nice. It's a bit too small, but it's alright. I can deal with it. It brought back Electric Cherry. The Easter egg, the ending was amazing. It was amazing, really. It was just amazing. That's it. Just amazing. Zetsubou no Shima. Now, Zetsubou no Shima had its problems. Let's be real, it was a glitchy map when it came out. But these days, it's not really that glitchy anymore. I don't really have a problem with Zetsubou no Shima. The Easter egg is pretty bad, let's be real, and it's really tedious, but I think you can look past it. It's not too bad. It's definitely the worst map of Black Ops 3, let's be real. I don't think it's Transit, though. It's better than Transit, let's be real. Gorod Krovi is a really fun map. It kind of reminds me of BO1, BO2 a little bit, and it's really fun. You've got the Ray Gun Mark IIIs, the Easter egg is good, and overall it's just a fun map. Like, the Easter egg is a bit too but I don't really have a problem with Gorod Krovi that much. It's a fun map. I love the soundtrack, it's really fun, and it was the map that started my channel as well, so hey, that's something. Revelations. Now, a lot of people have a problem with Revelations, and yes, it has its problems, but I don't think it's terrible. Now, the gameplay is really solid on the map. The gameplay, the map layout is fun. It brought back all of the old map. Well, not all of them, but most of the old maps, the ones we care about at least. And it was fun. It was exciting, and it was so exciting when the community was such a big thing for this game, specifically with Revelations, which kind of made it bad. Let's be real. The hype just ruined this map. But to be honest, the gameplay is really good, but the Easter egg is not very good, and the ending isn't too great, but it isn't the ending of Zombies storyline, it's just the ending of Premise, and when you look at it that way, it really isn't that bad, in my opinion at least. It didn't bring too much new things into the game, but it doesn't have to. It's a fun map in my opinion. Then you have Zombies Chronicles, the best thing about this game by far. It revolutionized this game. Everybody was so upset with Revelations ending, and people were like, this game sucks, and then this came out, and it just made Black Ops 3 into the best game ever. We have the entirety of World at War now in this game. We had Nacton Toten, Verrucht, and Shunonuma back. Brilliant maps. It captures the entire original feel of the OG maps. Then you have Kino de Toten, Ascension, Shangri-La, and Moon from BO1. Really fun maps. Again, they capture the original feel. They're not ruining the original maps. And then you have Origins, which is again a really fun map. And it's nice. We didn't get too much of BO2, but we did get Mob of the Dead in Black Ops 4. As Blood of the Dead. To be honest, BO3 is my favourite zombies game of all time. It's probably one of my favourite games of all time, let's be real. And I just think it's really good. The maps were all solid. There were some problems with Zetsubou and Revelations, but I kind of came back with Zombies Chronicles. And the community interest was literally at its max. I don't think the community will ever be like it was during the times of BO3. But the game was really fun, really enjoyable, and in my opinion, it's the best zombies game of all time. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Do you agree with me? Probably not, because all of you voted for BO2. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. I'm sorry for not uploading in like forever. I'll be back to doing it soon. I've got some more videos in the works. So I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe, like, and I'll give you nothing. Bye.